Hello, hello. I am Ben Pick, and thank you for joining me in Running to Write, where I give questionable writing advice through running metaphors. Today, I'm foregoing my typical writing advice to do an Authortube tag video. I was tagged in JM Celi's Share the Love video, and this channel was mentioned in Megan Aldridge's own Share the Love video. Both of those videos are included in the description below, so check them out if you haven't already. Share the Love is all about trying to build awareness for other Authortube channels within this community, and it's great for trying to find new inspiration or interesting channels to check out. So here's my take on 10 different questions for Authortube channels which influence me. Number 1, introduce yourself. Tell us what you write and what content you create on YouTube. Just like in a comic book, you need to treat each issue like it might be somebody's first. So here we go. I am Ben Pick, and this is Running to Write. I tend to write light and urban fantasies which dip a toe into the horror genre. And I have a few unfinished works in science fiction. My YouTube content is a kaleidoscope of questionable writing advice. Sometimes I find a running metaphor to mesh well with the topic I'm describing for writing. Sometimes I go off on a rambling story about my favorite movies or shows or a book I recently read. Thanks for coming along as I find my footing. Number 2, who was the first Authortube channel you found? Much like many Authortubers, my introduction was through Jenna Moreci's channel Writing with Jenna Moreci. It is mind-boggling how nearly every other Authortuber I know, we all share our roots with Jenna's channel. If you want to watch a skilled author with an engaging personality, a dark sense of humor, and someone who isn't afraid of cursing, then check out her channel. I feel like I'm yelling at a mirror here though, as I am fairly confident that the Venn diagram of my subscribers who are also subscribed to her channel is a circle, but who knows? Another early Authortube channel I started following was Megan Aldridge on iWriterly. That is where I met my first group of online writer friends, and we still collaborate on Discord today. Don't worry, Marc, you'll get your shout out in a few questions. Number 3, which Authortuber have you most recently discovered? Small tangent here, but it comes back around. A few years back, I read a novel called The Terror, which was about a failed exploration of the Northern Passage. The book was meh. The FX series was somehow worse given the cultural insensitivity. Really, it felt like my own series of trials to finish reading that novel. So much so that I assumed I would never want to read another of these expedition-style stories about the limits of the human spirit. Enter my latest channel find, Brandon's Bookshelf. In one of his recent videos, Brandon described the novel Endurance, which was about a failed Antarctic exploration. Unlike The Terror, there were no supernatural elements included. In his spoiler-filled review, his passion for the genre comes through so clearly, as well as his utmost respect for the 28 men who survived and the vast skills that they used to do so. He all but stated that had anyone else on the planet been on that expedition, anyone with slightly less navigational capabilities, the entire thing would have ended in ruin. That is a great video to start with if you want to follow his channel. Now that I think about it, Brandon's Bookshelf falls more under BookTube than AuthorTube, though the best authors and writers need a healthy diet of books, right? Number 4, what AuthorTubers are your favorite to watch? Recently, I've been giving shoutouts to the AuthorTubers I'm about to mention, but given their content and quality, I will keep doing it. The positivity which Barrett Laurie carries in each fantastic episode comes through for the audience. Not only is his content solid and his voice genuine, but the positivity he portrays clearly inspires the writing community. Another Authortuber who is fun to watch is the Novel Nana. I was outright laughing at her latest Halloween video. In a video I've already recorded, which will be uploaded probably 2 months from now, I praised the Novel Nana's boot camp on conflict, and I'm going to do so again, so sorry if I'm repeating myself. I found it incredibly helpful for her descriptions of how to improve characters and events, and I will apply them to my own stories. Number 5, what is your favorite kind of Authortube video to watch? The ones which aren't pretentious, and the ones which teach me an all-new way of looking at something I already know. Zenkia's latest video on her channel, All Things Fantasy, described how to create fantasy maps. This is a topic I have thoroughly researched, and she brought all new life into it by showcasing a tool which can do the heavy lifting. I am all about easy buttons to augment areas where I am weak. Her channel is just getting started, and I want to know what topics she'll tackle next in the genre I both read and write in. Number 6, do you have a favorite Authortube video? Well, I'm nothing if not vain, so JM Celi and Megan Aldridge's own Share the Love video where they mentioned this channel are high up there. Those were small, blink and you'll miss it moments, and yet they felt so wonderful. When I started writing and later uploading videos, so many of my experiences were and are done in isolation. Those shoutouts remind me that I'm helping others in the same way that the channels I watch every week are teaching me how to improve my craft. And that means everything to me. That is why I started this channel. Number 7, what's your favorite book by an AuthorTuber? I won't pick just one, so this will be a long answer. I'm going to lean away from similar answers as Jenna Moreci's The Savior's Champion and The Savior's Sister were already given as answers in the Share the Love videos I've watched. Though do go read them. They are great mature dark fantasies surrounding a battle royale. Another AuthorTubers book I want to mention is S.D. Huston's Blood of the Lily. I managed to get my hands on an art copy of this and enjoyed the read cover to cover. The tale takes place in ancient Ireland as two sisters battle the supernatural world, even as conflicting Greek and Irish supernatural realms fight each other. These two sisters take after the original stories of Red Riding Hood and Snow White, and seeing the non-Disney versions of them leads to a much more fascinating story. There's also Aster's Coda by Amy Rosenfeldt. As of this recording, I am less than halfway through the novel, though I was immediately brought in by the traumatic drama of the main character's life. The main character, Abby, is a younger sibling dealing with grief and bullying, which are universal concepts I can personally relate to, even though the story takes place on the opposite side of the planet. I've enjoyed the story thus far with its supernatural elements and its own take on the fantasy genre in the modern world. I'm curious to see where it goes from here. JM Celi's novel A Flower in Hell is coming soon. It's the story of a half-succubus in her attempt to flee both hell and her monstrous father's rule. I don't know when this novel will be published, though its strong first chapter is available on his author page, so see the link in the description below. Lastly, and I know this is a little bit outside of AuthorTube per se, but one of the writers I met through AuthorTube, Marc deGeorge, is publishing his debut novel, The Starship Sneak. This is another instance where I managed to get my hands on an art copy for early review, and it's coming out for everyone on November 29th, so get it when it's available. This is an interstellar adventure about a human colony's first contact with an alien species, and the teenagers who defy the government's attempt to bend the moment to their greedy ends. The dynamics between the close group of friends at the heart of this adventure made me feel for them as they fought to stay together, even as their lives were pulling them apart in different, often dangerous directions. Number 8. Do you have advice for anyone wanting to start an AuthorTube channel? Don't be afraid to make a complete fool of yourself, and don't be afraid to have no idea what you're doing. Also, unlike writing, don't be afraid to include double negatives. I have made countless mistakes in the 30 some odd episodes I've uploaded, and you can too. The most important part is to show up each week, pour your heart out to strangers, and hope for the best. Number 9, if you could recommend 3 other channels for AuthorTube, who would you recommend? Well, we already have all of the channels I mentioned previously, and I'll include links to their videos and channels in the description. I would also recommend Morgan Hazelwood's channel. She posts videos each week. One is a helpful series of writerly tips, and the other is a live stream to chat with other writers and do writing sprints. Her recent video for how she struggled to save her NaNoWriMo first draft hit home for its brutal honesty and the method she ultimately used to fix her story. Secondly, Author.Elliot's channel showcases her journey of balancing life with writing and travel and moving to a new country. Her video on the heroine's journey was one of the first I've seen on AuthorTube for a breakdown of that story progression, and has given me plenty to do to reconstruct and improve the women in my own stories. Lastly, author Lauren Adele's channel is worth watching. Her topics frequently include strategies and real-life experiences for writing with chronic illness, as well as how to write poetry, all of which are topics I know very little about and need to learn more on. Plus, I will always support a fellow Marylander, so go watch her channel. And lastly, number 10, tag 3 people you would like to see do this tag. I've already mentioned them earlier in this video, but I'll go ahead and say that I'm tagging Author.Elliot and Morgan Hazelwood. For my third tag, I'm going with Sandman Jones. To anyone else watching this, if you feel so inclined, consider yourself tagged. Please let me know if you participate in your own Share the Love AuthorTube tag so I can learn more about you and your interests. I am Ben Pick, and thank you for joining me in Running to Write. I post my running and writing progress on social media, so be sure to follow along and join in with your own thoughts. See you next time. Until then, find a new AuthorTube channel to watch.